We are tracking more breaking news this afternoon. We now know how two Southwest Kansas mothers were murdered.
Their causes of death were released in a motion to consolidate the 5 suspects' preliminary hearings. Prosecutors say Paul Grice stabbed and killed Veronica Butler, and while doing so, he cut his hand badly. They say Grice threw the knife, his clothes, and stun gun in the burial site. Prosecutors allege his clothes have Butler's DNA on them.
Prosecutors also say Jillian Kelley was also stabbed, but by Tad Colum. They allege Colum drove Jillian and Veronica's bodies to a burial site that he dug a day before. Colum is accused of burying the bodies inside of a freezer. His clothing found at the site also allegedly contained Jillian's DNA. Cora Twombly and Tiffany Adams are asking a judge to separate their preliminary hearings from the other suspects. Attorneys for Cora filed a motion that says having the 5 prelims at the same time could lead to prejudice, and says there will be a lot of evidence presented and it will be hard for a judge to separate which evidence is admissible against which defendant. The reasoning in Tiffany Adams' motion is similar. Her attorneys say, quote, "For any judge, no matter how mentally acute or diligent, the task of keeping the evidence in these 5 cases sorted out through a joint preliminary hearing is daunting, to say the least," end quote. And they also argue that since this is a potential capital case, it requires a heightened degree of reliability. The state wants to keep the prelims for Tiffany, Tad, Paul, Cole, and Cora together. Prosecutors say the judge has the ability to determine which evidence is admissible to which defendant. They also say there will be no evidence favorable toward anyone, and say, quote, "They are all in it together, unable to implicate another without implicating oneself." A judge will decide whether to separate the preliminary hearings on Wednesday.